Hello everyone, Sam Diaz here and welcome to Writing and Orchestrating for Strings. Now this video came up because a lot of people have been asking me, Sam, how do you write and orchestrate for strings? How do you arrange for strings? And not just strings, I mean, everybody's been asking me questions about brass, woodwinds, and the different sections of the orchestra, but I thought I'd start with strings because it's the most requested one, and it's also probably the most important one and the one that has the most flexibility. I mean, out of all the sections in the orchestra, the string section, really you can do anything with it. I mean, you can score like dialogue parts really well. You can score action scenes extremely well with it. You can score pretty much anything with just a string quartet if you wanted to. Composing and arranging for strings to me is a linked kind of thing. They're just linked together. You know, if I were to compose a piece right now and hand it off to an orchestrator or a different arranger, the way they're going to arrange for those strings orchestrated is going to be vastly different than how I would do it. And that already kind of changes my identity and my sound. So when I think about composing and arranging for strings, I think that's just a very, very personal thing. And you can actually even see it in other composers. For example, if you listen to how Danny Elfman arranges for strings or composes and arranges for strings, it's vastly different than how Alexander Desplat does it. Very different than how Thomas Newman does it, and way different than how Hans Zimmer does it. And then Hans Zimmer, the way he does strings is very different than John Williams, right? So it's very, very important that you don't try to separate those two things because it's going to form who you are as a composer and it's going to form an identity, a musical identity for yourself. I'm going to just give you kind of just some basic overall tips on just approaching very, very basic string writing. Not only how I approach it, but maybe more of a universal approach as well. So let's get into it. And I'm going to break this into two sections, into longs and to shorts. Okay, it's into long string writing and short string writing, and then at the end, maybe I'll get into some combinations as well, and some things that I've done on different projects that can be applicable as well. So longs, we have basically four sections of the orchestra. Of the string section, we have violins, right? We have violas. We have cellos. And we have basses. Well, let me go down the octave. All right. And I'm going to show basically how I work with these four sort of, they're the four main ones, obviously. So you kind of got, you're going to kind of have to work with that. But I'm going to show you something that's called divisi as well, which is basically you're splitting notes between, within each section that will work with chords. And also just add another layer to supporting maybe your melody line and stuff. So, the first combination that I like to use, which is very, very popular, is the melody in the violin, chords in the violas, and then the root notes are going to be handled with the bass and the celli. Sorry. So let me just compose a quick, improvise a quick piece here. Let me see if I can find a good tempo. Maybe something a little bit softer. And I'm going to start an octave. And for strings, for violins, I like to use an octave that's not, if I have to go up here, it would be for a very, very particular reason. Usually if I'm looking to add some tension to something, or excitement to a scene, kind of like the beginning of the Bridgerton piece, the strings are up here. I forget exactly what it is that I play, but it's because sort of more of there's tension in that moment. So I like to use sort of the really, really high shrill kind of sound in violins, like this kind of thing, to add a little bit of tension. But I kind of like to keep it here for melodies. So let's. This is kind of how I come up with melodies. I just try stuff. And let me just quickly change one of the notes there. There's one of the notes that I played. There's not what I intended. It's meant to play D. All right, so let me add my, I don't know what the chords are to that yet, but I'm gonna figure them out. And this is kind of how I write. I just kind of with a melody, and then I kind of now come up with the chords. Or you can, if you want to make it easier, you can come up with a bass first. So let's come up with that. So let me just play with it. That's one way to approach it. You can also do, let me see. Let's just do that. Let's do that. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on cello, but an octave higher. All right, and then let's add some violas in there. So I'm playing D. So D, D major, C major, G major, all major chords, D, C, G, A. In close voicing, so it's not too crazy. So if I were to highlight all of this, you can see exactly what it is that I played. So let's take a look at this. Okay, pretty standard. If I were to show all of this, is there a way I can do that? Let's see. No, there's no way I can show that. But you can kind of see sort of everything laid out. We have our basses, cello down here. We have our violas filling in these voices here in the middle, and our violins playing the lead line. And then just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and add in. Send that out, and there you go. So we have that. All right, so that's the first way that I like to orchestrate or compose for strings. Again, it's tied together. So now let's get rid of that and let's go to the next one. So we have the second way that I like to do it is I like to have the melody on the violins, and then also have a counterpoint on one of the instruments, typically cello. So let's just let me see if I can come with it. So let me see if I can come up with something. So, okay, I think I got something. So let me lower the tempo on that. And you'll see what I'm doing here. So let me do it on the has to be a lot slower than that for this to work. And I don't know if that last two notes are gonna work, but I can always modulate. And this is kind of how I write fast. I just kind of I come up with ideas and then I just move. And then if I need to modify something, I'll do it after the fact. So let's see. So then I'll have my chords in the viola as well. Usually you want to do two-way divisi, so I'm gonna do. I did it three-way in the other one, but I'm gonna do two for now. So simple. D, B minor. So D major, B minor, G, A sus, A major. Super simple, just to keep it simple. So now here's where the counterpoint part comes in. So I'll have the melody. I'm gonna try to come up with a part that's countering that. It's answering that. So this is asking a question, right? Something like that. And this is nice because if you're specifically in a part where you're maybe there's a part where it doesn't have much dialogue and the music kind of wants to stand out, you want to do something that's very interesting, or you want to keep melody interesting. This is a good way to do it. So let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna improvise something to see. Hope for the best. So let me see. I have to feel like maybe I can do the opposite way. Okay. I like that. So So in a twist of events, the cello became the melody and the violin became the counterpoint. But that's the beauty about writing and composing. Sometimes you just never know what you're going to get. It's kind of like the Forrest Gump saying. Um, so I kind of just roll with it, and I just kind of let it take me, because that's the thing about composing. It's an art, right? So you just gotta let it just let that inspiration carry you, and just go with it. Just go with the flow. All right. Again, there are things we can do in the strings to sort of clean up. So a lot of these frequencies are interfering a lot. You can do a lot of low pass on kind of these things, so everything doesn't sound too muddied up, but you can kind of play around with it and see where that takes. All right, so the third way, so that's the second way I would do it, using counterpoint and melody. Now, the third way I would do it is using, let's see, is using high octaves, maybe a counterpoint on the violas, right? And a melody on the cellos and the basses. So let me show you how I do that. Let's do a little something faster. By the way, I know you can't see this, but I'm controlling my volume with the mod wheel on the keyboard. And I'm kind of just playing, as I'm playing, I'm sort of giving it my own expression with that. And it's tied to the expression as well. So if you have dynamic and expression, normally I'll link the expression dynamic. So if I'm playing very soft like that, it's almost completely silent. That gives me a lot more range. And we can experiment listening to the bass a little octave lower. Hear how it sounds. And then up high, I like to have maybe violins. Usually doing a trem thing, but I don't have tremolo patches loaded right now. Very soft. Oops, sorry. We can try that an octave up to see how that sounds. So I'm trying out stuff. I'm not 100% sure what I wanted to do in the violas, but I'm trying out stuff. So not perfectly in time, but we could do something like that. This shows what we can do. And again, this is just kind of me hearing things. So let's try that. Too soft. Way too soft. All right. Just have to stay in that chord. Something like that, but and I would go in and finesse those parts, you know, this part, which is not technically short notes. Even though it's short, it's still a legato. It's still a legato kind of part if you think about it. And of course, much softer than that. I'll go in there and finesse and make that all in time and everything, but you get the idea. That's a good way also to approach it. And then the other final way that I like to do long strings, and again, this is going to be a two-part video because this one's just going to be for longs. The second one's going to be for shorts. I like to do a thing where it's sort of a it's all strings playing legato at the same time. So this is good for like an adventure kind of thing. And then this is where you can use other part of the orchestras to hold your chord. So if I have a line that goes, let's see. Yeah, something. So if you have something adventure, you can do this kind of thing where I like to do this kind of thing. A little too fast. Let me see. I'm sorry. right? I can copy that to the other parts, but I'm going to do it. But I want each part to have a different expression. Cello. And what I'm doing now is using the octave button. I'm just going an octave down per instrument. So I'll do legatos high in one octave, and then I'll press the octave button, go down another octave, then do the cello, another octave down, do the violas, then another octave down, do the cello, and then I just do the bass, notes. I don't even know what the bass notes are for this. This is usually where I'll have a chord in the woodwinds and trombones and harp, kind of doubling this to figure that out. So. And if I were to look at the MIDI information for this, you'll see the different parts working together. Right there. Like I said, 4 different octaves with the bass at the bottom. No magic, it's just a very simple, and again, you can, the trombones can be playing something, the trombones can hold the chords for this, like. You know, something like that, and then harp can be doing the sort of arpeggiating in it, and then doing. And then doing something like A, and then E, and you can have the woodwinds also supporting that. You can do a lot of different things to have this, you know, to support that in different parts of the orchestra. But this is a very kind of this is a very sort of fantasy sound to do that. So these are the 4. I mean, these are not the only ones. I use a ton of these sort of orchestration devices and ways of writing for strings, but these are 4 common ways that I like to use them. And especially if I'm doing something with a lot of other elements, this one's one that I'll use a lot because it makes the string stand out a lot. The first one and the counterpoint one, and then using the basses too. I like using the basses for the Bridgerton thing. I did a thing with 3 cellos, 3 solo cellos carrying the melody in one part. So I like to use also that as melody as well. And there's so many ways to do it, but this is how I like to write for strings as far as long string goes. Now for the second part of this video that's going to be coming up soon, I'm going to show you how I do it for short strings. So hope you like that. If you have any other comments, any other questions, leave them down below. If you like this video, subscribe, and I'll be posting more. And again, I'm always here to help if you need anything. So to the next one.